seems to be the focus of a lot of people. Some who want to jump out of the gate and do 100 units, some want to do 2 units, some want to do 20 units. And there's no wrong answer. We started with 2s and 3s and jumped to 100 units. That's what we felt we were prepared for, and that's what we went after. I've seen other people build quite a portfolio of quads, 2plexes, 8plexes, and grow that over time. And I've seen other people just jump out of the gate and really tackle 100, 400 units, a couple hundred units just from the start.
Well, let's dive a little deeper. So when we first started, we picked up 2 duplexes in Indiana, and we did a bunch of due diligence. I mean, Jason actually went out there once we knew the deals were solid. We knew the investors personally. And truth be told, we were told by a lot of other investors not to invest in this area. And these were key investors in our life, key mentors. But we knew the investors, and we more invested in the relationship.
Correct. And
they allowed us to open up our minds to the possibility of not only doing multifamilies, and yes, there were 2 duplexes, but also doing it out of state. Had I known that this idea was going to take root in this guy's head and we were going to go into multifamily, well, our minds were blown when we actually figured out that we could do that. But again, it comes down to how comfortable you are and what kind of risk tolerance you have.
For me, it's about the team. If we are new to a space, it's about how strong of a team and how great of relationships can we build to, of course, when we're now syndicating deals, make sure that we're being the most responsible position for our investors and for our investment criteria. So you could start small, you could go large. We find that you, of course, are going to gain more economies of scale if you go larger, by basically being able to relay on anything from how your debt service will be perceived to the management fees that will be involved to just the way that you'll be able to capitalize on rents and just forced appreciation. However, if just mentally you're not across that barrier and you can't get across a 20 unit or a 50 unit, then it's fine to start smaller. You can have a lot of success and learn a ton from starting smaller and possibly in your mind taking on less risk. Whereas if you have a team in place, you've been building up your network, you've been building up your investor network, you have good funding in place, you have great bank connections, you've been building up your team of property managers and brokers, and 100 unit, 150 unit, 200 unit comes upon you. Well, if you're mentally prepared, you have the team around you, so you know that where you are good at, you can excel, and where you're poor at, you have a team member that can jump into that space and help you across the finish line, then by all means, I would go for the number that makes sense for you.
So again, depends on how comfortable you are, and it really depends on the numbers. I mean, if you keep on looking at larger multifamily, you can't make it work, and you don't have the team, then maybe you should come down to like the 20 to 30 units. I mean, we were talking to Jay Scott a couple of months ago, and he's found his niche. A niche in like the 30 unit area where Jason and I wouldn't even
30 to 60 units he feels, maybe it was 30 to 70 units he feels is a great sweet spot right now. And it's true. There's a lot of people who, if you're a newer investor, or just even a lot of investors who have just invested in single families or duplexes, they don't feel comfortable yet at the 30 units. So it basically cuts them out. And for other investors who are maybe institutional investors or larger players, they don't want to go for anything under maybe 80 units, 100 units, because they feel that their system is built for a larger scale, and their investor returns they're trying to meet is meant for a larger scale. So that leaves that sweet spot in between of 30 to 80 units that can seemingly get neglected just because it cuts out on both sides. From newer experienced investors to experienced investors, both want to play outside of that realm.
So if anybody out there has any questions about this, feel free to leave us a message, give us a call, say hi, and let us know.